What's up, YouTubers? This is your boy Big Man Threat Fan 12 coming to you with another video game review. And in this review, I'm going to talk about the game Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands, which was released on the Nintendo Wii, Nintendo DS, PlayStation 3, PSP, Xbox 360, and PC by Ubisoft. Now, this game is a part of the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time series, but it's not like a direct sequel or anything because it takes place between Prince of Persia: Sands of Time and Prince of Persia: Warrior Within, with the exception of the DS version, which takes place after Prince of Persia, the Two Thrones, and everything. And the plot of Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands really depends on which version that you have. Like, for example, if you have the PC 360 and PlayStation 3 versions, those three have the same plot, while the other versions have their own plot. You know what I'm saying? Wii, DS, and PSP just pretty much got their own version. So a total four different versions of the same game in terms of plot. Since I have the Wii version, the plot of that is that the prince is promised a kingdom called Issachar. I think that's how it's pronounced by a female genie called Zatra. I think that's how you pronounce her name and everything. And in the early going, the prince pulls out a sand before she was able to warn him, and he inadvertently released like a bunch of monsters, pretty much an army of monsters and everything. So that it's essentially the plot of the Wii version. I may put the plot of the other versions in the description section of the video. But anyway, the main menu for the Wii version of Prince of Persia: Forgotten Sands are the start and continue story, extras and options. Of course, the start and continue story is essentially the main game. You know what I'm saying? Where you go and play that, pretty much the game and stuff like that. And it's where Prince faced pretty much a new set of enemies that's not in the Sands of Time trilogy and everything. All of them are essentially new, like the Temptress Assassin, the Minotaur Champion, Scallops, and Archers and stuff like that. There's not a lot of enemies, but there's enough to for you to fight in certain sections and everything like that. Now, the gameplay and combat system of Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands are pretty similar with what you would see in the Sands of Time trilogy and everything, mainly because the team at Ubisoft behind the Sands of Time trilogy worked on the Forgotten Sands stuff. And you can pretty much climb, move on different things like ledges, columns, beams, and stuff like that. As you would in the Sands of Time trilogy, you know. Well, the I would say the combat system is somewhat different than the Sands of Time trilogy because you don't like I guess you don't swing off columns to attack, but it's pretty good nonetheless. But I'll get into that later. And you'll see a lot of the mechanisms like stone pedals, magic doors, where you pretty much avoid different hazards like spiked floors and wall saws, like you pretty much would in the Sands of Time trilogy. But I don't think the number of hazards that you face is technically not as numerous with the floor saws and spiked floors as you would in the Sands of Time trilogy. You can pretty much save your progress by drinking from a fountain, receiving the power from a sacred statue, or going to one of the sanctuaries. And for some reason, in the Wii version, there's no indication that you actually saved your progress. Because I remember when I like first like played I was like, how do I know? I was thinking to myself, how do I know that I saved it? And then I pretty much quit the game and played it. Started where I last saved it. That's how I knew that I saved it. The Another thing is with the options. There's the game options, audio, and controls. With the game options, you can pretty much turn on and off the tutorials and the subtitles, along with the camera assistance, along with showing how often you will see battle highlights, either always, sometimes, or never. Now with the other thing, the audio, you pretty much change the volume of the music, the sound effects, voices, ambience, and cinematics and stuff like that. And then the controls, you basically viewing the control and button configuration, depending on, of course, which version you have. Now the extras has the menu of bonuses, heroic challenge, and credits. Now with the bonus, there's the manager, outfit manager, where you can have the prince dressed in his attire from Forgotten Sands, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, or I have to look at it again. The third one is either from the Two Thrones or Warrior Within. Now with the weapons, you will pretty much see the different weapons that you unlock through the course of the game and stuff like that. Then there's the secret maps, art galleries, and videos. All of them you have to unlock just by playing the game and stuff like that. And then heroic challenges, you viewing different certain objectives that you completed and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? You could view things uh, like perfect and stay down and stuff like that. And you could view the Ubisoft team who worked on Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. You know what I'm saying? End credits and stuff like that. You can also pretty much unlock the original Prince of Persia game. They was released in 1992 in the Wii version of Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. I don't think this is like really possible with the other versions, especially the DS version, stuff like that. Now, the graphics and design are pretty good. You know what I'm saying? It has some nice color palettes and stuff like that. And as far as the controls and gameplay are concerned, they're pretty good, like the other versions, but they're not necessarily as innovative as what you saw in the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time series. If you played that and stuff like that. Plus, the soundtrack to Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands are pretty good, and pretty much it fits the tone of the game in my opinion, and stuff like that. Uh, um, Pretty much, it seems to me like Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands isn't as challenging as what you will find in any other games in the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time trilogy, but it's pretty like but it's not like a cakewalk or anything. I don't think it is. Now, pretty much Prince of Persia: The Two Thrones is a pretty good game. You know what I'm saying? And I do like the fact that in the Wii version that you can play the original Prince of Persia game and stuff like that. And I think that for Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands is a good game, and it's a nice addition to the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time series and stuff like that. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's a fan of the Prince of Persia series. And if you happen to own, say, like the Xbox 360 version, the Wii version, something like that, I would pretty much recommend getting other versions of the Forgotten Sands due to the fact that there's different plots that's involved in the different versions, and I would recommend playing them due to if you wanted to see how they play out in terms of story and stuff like that. As far as a score, I definitely give Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands 8 out of 10. with that being said, you can sound off in the comment section about Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands, if you want to, whether it's the 360 version, 3DS version, or the Wii version, or something like that. You can even talk about the original Prince of Persia game if you have the Wii version and stuff like that. If you like this video, don't hesitate to click the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button. This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 signing off.